it's either iCloud.
Yeah, it's not letting me record on my computer, so it's going to
Oh,
be recorded in the cloud. So I don't know what that means.
it's fine. Yeah.
Will it be on my desktop after this thing is through?
It might be, or it will be in your your Finder app, like where your downloads are. So you have iCloud
Okay. All right.
downloads.
I may have to go searching for it then anyway. So
Yeah.
welcome to the June Magic of Scent Circle. Sorry about the discussion about the recording issues. They keep on changing the whole thing. Every time I use Zoom, it's different, and it's hard on somebody like myself who isn't technologically whatever. Anyway, I didn't have anything specific prepared. I just wanted to, talk a little bit about the Magic of Scent Circle that happened in Freiburg, and some of the things that we talked about before we made our oils. And also, Kristen isn't here, and I wanted to, at some point, I want to send some healing energy to her. She has been diagnosed with breast cancer. It hasn't spread, but she's going to have the lump removed, and then they're recommending radiation afterwards for a while. And her getting the logistics together for her to be able to do that 5 days a week, an hour and a half, 45 minutes drive each way, 5 days a week for 5 or 6 weeks is a bit more than she can handle. So she has to figure out the logistics of that and everything. And I'm not going to go into huge detail because it's her story to tell, but I just thought that it would be really nice if whoever is here now and whoever listens to this, who isn't here now, can send her some healing love every once in a while. And because she's going to need it over the next few weeks, probably 2 or 3 months. So I just wanted to bring that up. I feel like that's something that we can do for each other. It feels like we've been getting together frequently enough. And of course, I know the two of you, and I've known Linda Marie for a very long time. But even those who haven't been showing up, they've been watching the recordings. And I feel like in some way, even if we don't know each other all that well, haven't come all that much, but I still feel like we're a circle, a community of a community, and that we care about each other, and we share a lot in common. And I feel that it's something that we can do for each other is to hold each other in our hearts when we go through crappy shit. And we all go through crappy shit over and over and over again. So one of the things that kind of blew me away, it consistently does, in conversations about scent and our senses and where we are now in the times that we live in, the conversation always gets to be really esoteric. And what surprises me is that no matter who is there, of course, people self-select for the subject. I mean, nobody's going to walk into the Freiburg Library to a Magic of Scent circle if they already aren't in a certain space in their heads and in their hearts to begin with. So there's a certain level of commonality that we will share even if we don't know each other. I did happen to know 3, 4, or 5 of the people who were there, but there were some new people too. And I found myself talking about the people that I listen to who help me understand what's going on in the world, who are, Pam Gregory, the astrologer, Lisa Wetzel, who is a channeler from the Akashic Records, who I don't know how any of that, well, you guys, but to whoever else might be listening to this, to me, she gets some really excellent information, and I like how she communicates it. She's very down to earth. Sounds strange when you're talking about somebody channeling from the Akashic Records, but she is. She's very real, and she's just like somebody that you'd run into at the grocery store kind of person. At least she comes across that way to me. And also David Clements, who is amazing. And all of them, regardless of what type of energy they're working with, whether it's astrology or the Akashic Records or whatever anybody might want to, what might be working with, everybody is seeing the same thing happening right now. And I've been saying this like a broken record wherever I talk, whether it's here or in a video that I put up a couple of days ago or whatever. Um, it's like each one of these different people and each wherever they're getting the information, it's obviously, if you're going to listen to anybody like that in the first place and you hear them all talking about similar things from different perspectives and different using different language, um, something's going on and we can feel it. And a lot of what's going on that I've been paying attention to is changes in our bodies, to accommodate the higher frequencies that are coming in that we are going to that we must that our bodies have to deal with. It's as simple as that. And also as complicated and often painful as that, because I feel like, and I don't know, and this may not be a subject for the magic of scent, but I feel like the older we get, the older I get, um, obviously things go wrong. I mean, that's part of getting older. But I'm feeling that right now, there's so much shifting on so many different levels energetically that the body is undergoing such changes. The only way to navigate it, really, even if we don't have some horrible disease or some major issue, the only way to navigate it is to really calm down, quiet, take space, rest, relax, um, let go of extraneous crap that is busy work and takes up time and energy, but not really important. I mean, figure out what those things are and get it and let them go, which obviously leave space in between those things that are important that we want to keep in our lives. And then those things become they're our work. It's like refining down what we're doing for our work in the world today in this moment. And part of that I feel is and I've had a really hard time with this, what people call self-care. I really don't like the phrase self-care. It just, for me, it just sounds like, oh, I'm going to take a bubble bath and I'm going to do all this cool stuff for myself and pamper myself and everything. And yeah, that's part of it because it helps us feel comfortable during the day and calm down at night. But it's more than that. I don't, I guess we are now embodying a frequency and a way of being and a way of creating that is a different dimension completely from what our bodies were born in. Um, and I think that is playing a role in a lot of the ailments that people I know seem to be facing a lot. It's like you deal with one thing and you go, ah, and then something else rears its ugly head. It's like it doesn't seem to stop. And it's like, "Ah, what the fuck? How am I supposed to get anything done when all this shit keeps on happening that derails me from my work?" So, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I do know that when I get in those times, scent helps. It really does. So I'm going to stop talking and see if any one of you has anything that you would like to add to my little diatribe this afternoon.
Well, my words exactly along the what the F lines. And I think everybody is going through it. It's just so much. But two things that have come up, and we've talked about the self-care before as well. And one something that came up the last couple weeks as a kind of an answer or something to look towards is adrenals, your adrenal system.
Mm,
So our bodies are meant to compensate for all of the things, and the adrenals create hormones for us when our body can't, or like when you're going through menopause, your adrenals take over. You still have hormones produced in your body, it's just produced in a different way. I
hmm
didn't I didn't know that, but things just kept starting popping up as far as adrenals. And so I muscle tested for my adrenals, and they're working at 100%. Now, I know 2 years ago they were not. I've been doing all the things. And so when we talk about self-care, I think it's that consistent real care where you have stopped self-abandoning and
mm
it's just actual care. It's what we're supposed to be doing for ourselves anyway, but there's so much confusing information.
hmm
So adrenal support is just vitamins, basically your vitamins and your omegas, and there's certain ones, and it's just a few things that really support your adrenals so that the problem we're having is adrenal fatigue
mm
across the board with everything, and I believe that's what's causing all of the problems. It just clicked in when I read about them and the things that I'd done. I started muscle testing for my body, and it's like, so I feel good because all of the self-care I've done helped heal my adrenals. And now I don't need anything. I don't need hormone replacement. I'm weaning off of that with muscle testing.
Oh,
My
good.
my body has reset and I can muscle test for that. So you can muscle test for your adrenal system. You can muscle test for your hormone system. It was very validating and encouraging that the things I was doing were the proper things. And that
hmm
the last 2 years, my systems have healed. And so that's been the big thing for me the last week or so is that I can simplify and minimize the things I've been trying to do for my body because I have reached a point where it's working and functioning really well.
hmm
2 years ago, it was not. And so all the things helped, but you shouldn't need them all, for the rest of your life kind of a thing.
hmm
So I did do bioavailable hormone replacement and I did a lot of other things and that helped my whole system kind of recalibrate. And I feel like I'm at the normal place where I should be for going into menopause, where then my adrenals are at I muscle tested, they're working at 100% so that but when my ovaries stop producing hormones, the adrenals take over. You don't need as
hmm
much, you're not cycling, but your body is built to compensate for the change. And that just gives me, like, I just admire my body with that information so much more. It makes so much more sense than always treating the symptoms of menopause, right? It's like, what's the actual cause of when your body goes through big shifts and changes? And there
Yeah,
has to be a system in place to support that, just biologically, just scientifically, right? Just naturally.
right.
So that has helped me a lot. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but that's kind of what's been in my awareness the last couple weeks and really made sense for me.
Yeah, I wish I had known more when I went through menopause. I didn't know about, I mean, I remember getting muscle tested by, it was, he was an energy, I can't remember what he called himself, but I was in my 40s and my adrenals were weak. Everything was weak because I was running on fumes. I was doing too much. But I haven't paid any attention to that. What happened for me when I started going through menopause is I worked in a natural health food store at the time, and and I was also growing a lot of herbs in the garden, and that's when Motherwort volunteered too. I mean, I was just doing something not even in the garden, and there was this plant, and it was like she was growing in amongst the black raspberries and the daylilies and like this mishmash of plants that were growing in what my father tried to create a rock garden that turned into it didn't turn into a rock garden. But anyway, there was motherwort in there. And I'm like, oh, wow, cool. Thank you. I know I need you. And I looked it up and I took it's a stupid thing, it helped every single herb I could find that had anything to do with women's reproductive health and menopause. and support for our reproductive system, all that stuff. And I lumped it into a tincture. I like literally had a tincture that had 25 different things in it, and it tasted really bad, but I didn't care. And I wrote it down. I have the formula somewhere still, but and I believe it helped. I believe it helped. But I didn't, I know more now than I would have, that I knew then. And also now like, even just a year ago, doing meditations and focusing on the heart, they would be like, focus on your heart, tune into your heart. I would get to the point where I mean, I couldn't even breathe. Just focusing on my heart, I felt like I was going to pass out. And part of it was because all I could think of was my physical heart. All I could think of was the stuff that's in my body, my organs. And it just made me feel really squeamish, for one thing. And for another thing, this was before I ended up in the emergency room. So I really think that there was something going on. Obviously, there was something going on with my physical heart. And when I focused in on it, I was picking up on stuff, but I didn't know what I was picking up on, because now that my heart is normal, um, and I feel so much better in every way, I can just go into my heart, like function from that point. And there's no, it's like, yeah, and now I actually have the universe inside my body. I feel like I wasn't able to tune into what was happening in my body. I was totally disconnected from it, even while I was thinking that I wasn't. So I just, it's like, how can I be in this body and not know that all this shit is happening? I was totally oblivious. So, Linda Marie, you must have something to say. You've been through so much.
Um, I have to go back to how you opened it. And thank you, Jen, for that feedback too, because made me makes me look at my body differently, um, with kindness and some more understanding. So I'm learning today, right now. Um, and Susan, when you opened up with the self care versus what is it's like our right to be. And
Mm,
so, yes, going back to that childhood, going back to that connection, being with Mother Earth, being with the bare feet on the ground is therapeutic and has been considered self care. And for me, self care, that term truly is about that inner energy of being able to let it out like a volcano. And how do I do that? I find that it's my left side of the brain to be able to pick up the camera and start doing photography. Um, I love to journal. I haven't been faithful. I haven't been writing like I would like to see myself. 3 to 5 years ago, I was constantly writing. I'm not doing that lately. I'm so in tuned to the negative forces that you have
mm,
shared and the craziness that you mentioned, Jen. It's like, what is wrong with me? I went outside to take care of my flower bed after feeling this lug of swelling of the feet, swelling throughout the body, swelling through the brain, and finally breaking away, being by the coast for a change, down east of Maine for a while. The body felt that child. So I guess, oh, that this must be self-care, I guess. And being back with my cousin and that reconnection is truly a lot of child feelings that just overlap the fact that I'm not a child and in my 60s and going through all this other stuff. But yet it felt like when we were, yeah, the way it felt. And it felt right. And the ocean air,
mm,
the time we came back home, David and I was like, "Oh, I'm going back out. Dave, I'm going to do the flower garden while you cut in the other side." And it was so good to de-weed, pull them up, look at the dirt in your fingers, and I really connected. And my toes felt really great in between the blades of the grass, and then smelling the air. It was different than the ocean. So there's those energies, Susan, that you presented along with you too, Jen, how the inside felt. And I really believe that my lymphatic system has a lot of cloggedness in there, that the adrenals are just truly trying so hard to do what they need to do. And when I have a system that doesn't allow oral supplementations to go through and process, everything has to be either a needle or how do I word it? A needle or an injection for B12, or go outside and get your sun for your vitamin D. It's just like, all right, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do this and keep this self care shit going. Sorry. But it just, after a while, I feel like it's just a circle that goes around and around and around, and you hit on it, Susan. It's crazy. It doesn't even feel like self care anymore. It feels like damn work and work
Mm.
and work. And so stepping back, like I saw your expression, Jen, and stepping back and just that being. And that's what I've been doing. I fell really bad out there. I hit my head on the ground, the shoulder first, then the head, and my knee hit the boulder that was there, the little rock boulder. Beautiful. I
Mm.
was looking at it earlier, and my chin went right on it, and my whole body twisted, and I rolled down this slope, and I'm laughing while I'm doing this. I'm not I'm not swearing, I'm not yelling. I'm just like I'm trying to stop and I'm laughing. And I believe that may have been a little moment of that kid inside me.
Yeah.
You know, with Mother Earth, and it felt so alive. But yet
Mm.
I don't know about that. I really hit my head hard. I
Yeah.
sat there for a little bit and just looked around. Thank goodness no cars were driving by. And my neighbor, well, she could have been inside her house there, but there's so many trees here in Gray, Maine, so the other neighbors didn't get to see that, but I laughed. I really did. And I'm hurting. I'm all contusions, some really mild, slight concussion is what the doctors are saying. I had osteopathic treatment yesterday, and the way spoke was like, Linda Marie, I can't tell you what to do. Linda Marie, your body will tell you what it needs. I'm just here to guide you, to get you out of the twister that you unfortunately got into. He says, I'm not going to say you got yourself into it because it sounded like you were having fun. I go, yeah, my masterpiece was halfway through. I look back, I go, oh my God, those weeds. Oh, I got halfway through. Yay. And I think I got so excited and feeling the body because all I do is feel pain and
Mm.
pain. And I'm doing the red light therapy, I'm doing these vibration stuff, trying to get my body to be unclogged. And I suppose I may have felt really alive at that moment before. I felt, and I
Mm.
accept that. I have to accept that. So it's like what you said, Jen, we try, we do this and get off of this slowly. And it's like when we find that peace, I don't even know what the word is, but it's so right that we just know it. I'm feeling that what I saw on the look in your face, Jen. I'm feeling that even though I've got all these bruises and contusions and everything, but I'm feeling much more connected, Susan, much more connected than I was 4 or 5 months ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's stepping back from that, you know, henny penny. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. I'm stepping back and really listening. And that breath work, like you said, Susan, it was hard last year for you to take that breath in the
Mm.
heart. I really can identify on different levels. And I've been feeling that over the course of the winter into the spring. Couldn't get that breath. And I'm starting to feel it in my belly button. So the chakras must be lighting up, illuminating out there in the summer. First day of summer, solstice. It just, oh, I'm not going to let this fall get to me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that when what Susan started with as far as our bodies recalibrating and upgrading and the higher frequencies, that's what's happening. Because I had a similar inner child experience. I've been exhausted for 2 to 4 years, and this last week and a half, or since right before summer solstice, I feel like my old self finally. I didn't know if she'd ever come back. Like, I can do stuff all day long. I'm not exhausted at night. I'm sleeping great. I'm healing quite quickly, even when things get out of whack. And it's so hopeful because I know how depressing it gets.
Mm.
There's no energy. And now I understand that that was mostly adrenal fatigue. So all the things I was doing, but it takes a while when you have an imbalance like that, right? Or from your whole life or whatever. Um, So it is adrenal fatigue in all kind of levels, I think, for all of us. And then the self-care, I think where that falls short is it insinuates that we are self-abandoning when we're just trying to survive and get through life. But also a bubble bath is only a band-aid that does not actually help your adrenal system, right?
Mm.
It's a momentary band-aid, but then life is still tough and your body's still exhausted and you're still having to deal. And so I feel like maybe that's where the self-care, it feels like work on top of you're already fatigued. And so I think it starts meaning something different. It kind of it doesn't feel good if you have to work harder at trying to take care of yourself. Uh,
Right, right. And our bodies are going through a lot just just from whatever that we have to deal with, but with the changes that are happening now energetically on top of that, that a lot of people aren't even aware of, but so it feels like they're being hit right and left with all kinds of strangeness that they have no way of even understanding really. So yeah, so that's, and one thing, another thing I'm noticing too is on the, I guess you'd call it emotional or psychological levels. Um, Speaking for myself, I have my issues. We all have our issues. We have things that, certain feelings or phrases or whatever trigger certain feelings. What I'm noticing is now is when something like that happens, I am able to understand where it's coming from better than I have in the past. And also, when I ask for help dealing with it, the help comes and the change happens fast. It's like a switch goes on or a switch goes off. Um, and yeah, there might be some repercussions like a week or 2 weeks or a month or a year down the road where we're facing something similar but different and it kind of hits that. But for the moment, the angst of whatever it is in that moment, it just switches on or off. And it's like it's I have to say it's effortless.
do you
It's
think it's because we've learned how to let it go through and release it rather than keep it?
I think that's part of it, but I also think that once we have that awareness that we need to, and there's something about the energy of the awareness and our desire. Speaking for myself, my desire to really let go of it because it's garbage that I don't need in my life, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I guess the sincere desire to not have that in my psyche or whatever anymore, holding me back from who I am supposed to be, who I am. For some reason, it almost like gives it permission to go through faster.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I'm feeling. And I feel like that's part of the information, the codes, whatever you want to call it, that's coming into our physical beings right now. And also I felt when I was in New Hampshire, I was, oh, I'm going to turn the sound off here. It'll get rid of some of the bleeps, not all of them. When I was in New Hampshire, I was finally able to spend hours on my river, the Swift River, on the Kankamongus Highway, on the rocks, boulders, and ledges that I have spent time on since I was 2 years old, except for the past couple of years. And the sky was like this deep, deep blue, and hundreds of swallowtail butterflies hatched out while I was there. And I could walk on the ledges and the boulders, and I could say, "Oh, I want to get over there so I can watch that, see it, sit at that waterfall for a while." And I could make my way there. I was not able to do that 2 years. Last year, certainly, I didn't even go there. I could hardly walk. And the year before, it was hazardous for me to undertake such ventures because my hip was still bothering me, even though I could walk. But so I was able to do that, and I felt like a kid again, and it was just so wonderful. I mean, I was there for 2.5 hours the first day, and then with a friend of mine, another couple of hours the next day. And when I got back from the whole thing, from back home, um, I noticed, first of all, I had so much energy and my body felt so good when I was in New Hampshire. And part of it was just being there and being around my friends and doing everything that I planned on doing. And a huge part of it was the vibrations of those rocks and boulders that I spent physical time touching, sitting on, being with, and the water that rushed around me. In some places, I was on a rock and it was rushing around both sides of me, and I did that on purpose. I mean, I always do it on purpose, but I knew that I needed it, and I kind of soaked it up. And after I got back to New York, I couldn't think, I couldn't write, I couldn't do anything. All I wanted to do was sit and be. And I felt that what was happening was everything that I had experienced, all the information, all the love that I hadn't gotten for 2 years from my place. It was my body and my spirit was just processing it. It was like interpreting it, integrating it. And I didn't have words for it and I couldn't explain it, but I knew that that was what was going on. And it took several days. And the same thing happens when I sit on the balcony in the sun. I got that when I'm in the sun, I'm being given information that's really important for me to have. And I don't have to understand it. It doesn't matter. I don't have to like feel it coming in or anything. It's just happening to me. And and I'll figure it out. It'll come as it comes, in my life. And, um, and I used to feel like, and I don't doubt this. It feels like it's definitely real, even if it sounds crazy. So I'm wondering what you all think about that. Do you feel the same things happening to you right now?
Absolutely. And my friend helped me remember that the word that came through was recalibration, that
Mm,
we're all feeling it in huge waves. So it is a recalibration, which was a little bit different than like integration, things like that. This is that we are recalibrating in new frequencies, new
yeah.
ways.
I've also heard certain things are being activated.
Hmm.
That's
Yes.
another word I've heard too. Yeah.
Yeah. So activation and recalibration, because when you're activating these deep DNA codes that we've never operated with. They're not activated yet. Now we're activating them. Your physical body has to recalibrate in order to be able to breathe in and out that new activation, that new way of being.
Mhm.
And so I think we're all going through it, whether or not we're aware of it, but it does help to kind of have words and people to bounce it off of. Like, I know for a fact all four of us have had this similar activation in the last 2 weeks with the solstice.
Yes.
We're all talking about feeling this, like I see it as the the dancing emoji that's just a black silhouette. That's how I feel my inner child is inside of me. And I see her dancing and everything, yes, life is rough, but I don't stay in it. I can kind of allow it to go through. But definitely I've felt bliss for the first time in my life this last couple weeks, walking out to do horses in the morning. Like I felt my every pore on my body was breathing and tasting the breeze. And I felt so young and light and energetic and beautiful, and like I was literally it was breathing me and I was breathing it and I was part of all of it. But it also felt like the breeze was going through me and carrying my essence around to the rest of the world. Like she was breathing me, but also sharing my energy and my frequency. And I had reached a point where I would allow that and not feel like I was losing myself. I don't
That's
know.
beautiful. That
But,
is beautiful. I mean, you brought tears to my eyes, seriously.
but I think that we're all experiencing that. And
Yeah.
we're all trying to find words for that.
Yeah, I felt that when I first stepped on the rocks when I got there, I'm like, "Ah." And part of it was because I was just so much love it. Just I just wanted to be there so bad, and I was there, and the weather had cooperated. I was going to be there unless it was downpouring, but the weather had cooperated with the most beautiful day ever. Not to mention hundreds of butterflies hatching while I was there. Oh my God, it doesn't get any more magical than that.
Yep.
And I felt like I was 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm pretty sure we're all experiencing the same thing. And then we're trying to find words for it, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
And we're in these older, well, speaking for myself anyway, I'm the oldest one here.
well, it's
I'm
incredible.
in
It's
this old body trying to run around on these rocks like a 5-year-old.
Well, and it is because falls at this stage, right? You don't heal quickly. You're already dealing with stuff, it to be able to laugh about falling over and rolling down a hill and all the things, right? Like that is your inner child because as kids you never thought twice about it, right? But now it's like, oh God, what's broken?
Yeah,
How
I used to roll down the whole
long is
mountain.
this gonna take to heal, right? So it I think that maybe is helping to where maybe we aren't hurt as much as we would be if we were stiff and
Oh,
like overly concerned about, and this way we can trust that we can heal.
right. I mean, Linda Marie, if you had stiffed up,
Hmm.
I mean, you could have ended up in the emergency room. You could be in traction right now.
Yeah.
I thought about that too, Susan. Absolutely, because the way Dr. Data had mentioned to me, she called me Saturday night, as I shared earlier with Susan, and the way she said it, you had to have been very relaxed if you would pulling weeds out, because that is such a stress gift to release and take care of Mother Earth. She goes, so I bet you really were flexible. And I go, whatever you want to call it. It happened. It happened. And I went right back, sat on instead of the knees on that foamy thing for gardeners. I sat my butt right on it and I said, I'm going to get this done. I didn't care. And I finished the rest a good hour
Oh,
later. I did, Jen. I did.
wow.
And I felt so good. But when you come back here and I'm trying to go take the shower and I'm like, oh, geez, I can't get it. I can't get that foot. I can't even turn. So,
Oh no.
and
Yeah.
I went, you know what? It's okay. Go get
Oh.
ice and just sit down and just enjoy a drink.
Mhm.
But yeah, um, I touched base on something that you both said. And Susan, with the scent, I found myself being evaporated that that afternoon after I finished with the weeds. I went to my peonies and I said, "Okay, girls, you're all kind of like just looking sad. You got a few bulbs there." And I started to trim them and cut them and prune and I got my beautiful vase and came inside and I talked to them, and I just said, okay, now you're going to give me a gift. You're going to help me through this. And I let their energy. And Susan understands with certain scents, the environment, my multiple chemical sensitivities. Um, Lilacs can be very overwhelming to be in a home closed with them. Peonies can do the same thing. But
It's the
I
chemical.
kept them right over here on this table for the whole time. And just today, yesterday, last night, I moved them into the kitchen and I trimmed, and I this morning took the others that were all spent, and now the three bulbs are just so happy and they're going to bloom. And
Mm.
that smell, the scent, helped through, which I was shocked, because normally I have had my husband David bring it outside and keep them over there outside on the table. I didn't this year. That's happiness. So,
That's amazing, actually.
right, Susan? Yeah.
That's really amazing, and because they have the same chemical scent aroma chemical in them as the what are called the dirty white jasmine and narcissus and
Mhm, mhm.
even some white rose lilacs, white lilacs. I
Okay.
picked some white lilacs. My neighbor has some over here. I had the lavender ones, and I loved those. The white lilacs were so strong, they
Mhm.
were so strong with that dirty scent, I'm calling it, because that's what we call it. And it's like a dirty florals. That's what they're called. And it was more than I could handle.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. They smelled so different. Of course, every color rose has a different smell. But yeah, that's that chemical. And so even roses, which I know you're sensitive to, have that chemical in them. And I'm really surprised that the peonies were just so helpful for you.
Oh,
You're muted.
Sorry. It really brought me to through till today. And what I have been doing, you mentioned about the workshop in Freiburg, but when you first came here to Gray and did
Yeah.
the first workshop there, the scented that in that workshop that I compiled, it had the
Hmm.
patchouli, it had oh God, all those fragrances that you had there, the oils. Um, it's been on my altar since you left, and I've been really meditating on it and giving it to the universe, and allowing me to really feel when I need to take that first scent.
Hmm.
I did yesterday, and I am like, oh my God, I love the creation. I just love it. And it made me so much more happier, Susan, that
Cool.
I didn't get into that funk out zone, that I really truly, you said it, Jen, I really, really connected, like you described so well, because, the second day of summer, and like you feel the breeze in your hair. I felt so happy. I felt
Yeah.
so good. Really did. But I
Do you
sat
remember?
with it. I sat with it to own it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to do. We have to do that. We have to allow ourselves to do that. Do you remember? Did you write down what you put in that oil that you made?
I know I wrote it somewhere. I know I
Okay.
know I did. I'm gonna definitely look that one up too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the patchouli. I can't remember what else is in there though.
With the pine. I know there's a white pine.
There's white pine. Yeah, the white pine as the base. But yeah. Yeah, and of course what happens is as time passes, those ingredients that you put in there, they meld together and they create they change. It's going to keep on changing. So I'm glad it's changing in a way that is really pleasant for you.
And I believe the Ying Ling, I can never
Oh,
say it.
ylang ylang.
Yeah, you Ying, I can never say it.
It's the tongue. La.
Yeah. And
I don't think
that
it's
scent brings out the kid in me. It really has a balance for sure.
And that's a really strong floral.
next to your canine.
Oh wow.
They won't
Yeah,
go. But
Okay.
just in
Wow,
case.
that's amazing.
yeah.
So that's a reconnection that Jen had mentioned about the rebirth that child, what's been drawing up, and the right to feel that child again, to come back out. And I guess there's a growth there happening. Women, I love it.
Yeah, yes.
Love it.
I think it must be an activation in and of itself
Hmm.
because we're all experiencing it,
Yeah,
so that just has to be that kind of joyful, blissful, um, inner child activation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's obvious that scent plays a role. I mean, all of our senses do, but scent is very special because it bypasses the brain. And so, it's totally intuitive and totally primitive in a way. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the abilities, I'm going to use that word, abilities that we are being given and that are being remembered because they're not new. A lot of those abilities are abilities that the ancients knew about and had and possessed. And when I say the ancients, I'm talking about thousands of years. I'm not talking about, like 5,000 years when civilization started in certain ways. Even there wasn't, Christianity or anything yet, but there was still civilization was starting. But pre-civilization, the humans who were alive, we knew things and could do things that have been dumbed down and atrophied within us. In addition to the activations and that we're being given in order to live and be who we are in a world of higher frequency. Um, it's kind of an amazing. I keep on hearing people say this. Oh, it's an amazing time to be alive, and it really is. I don't know that I must have asked for it because here I am. But when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to be here now. This is not my time. I want to be like, I don't want to be in the modern age. I didn't like the modern age. I just wanted to be back in the time when there wasn't electricity, when everything wasn't so fast. Um, it seemed like I had memories of a different time, and that's where I wanted to be. And even as an activist, even as an adult, I still felt that way until I tripped for and I saw my whole lifeline, and I went to all of these different lifetimes. And at the end, it helped that angst a lot because I realized that I already had all those experiences within me. I didn't have to yearn for a different time because they're here. They're part of who I am. And that doesn't mean that I can like just myself back to any lifetime and there I am. But just knowing that those experiences are accessible, however, I may figure out how to access them, who knows, but they are accessible within me. And so I don't need to yearn for anything that I already have. And somehow that helped. So I guess, we all chose to be here for certain reasons. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of rambled off on that tangent for whatever reason. Cassie, you haven't said anything. Do you want to say something? The voice
Oh,
of youth and wisdom. No,
that's
seriously.
um I did have something on my mind, yeah. Uh so I had worked in a hospital for the last couple of years and I lived in an apartment a couple hours away from where I live with Jen now. And I was really out of touch with nature. In the summertime, I would go out and take my paddleboard because I lived like 15 minutes away from a lake. But nature is it was such an integral part of my childhood. And I realize now, like, a lot of, I think the disconnect I felt was how cut off I was from that. And I wasn't taking the time or making the effort to be out in nature. So that's something I wanted to change this year. I think I have done a pretty good job of that, honestly. I took a trip to Canada last month and I was there for 5 days up in Banff National Park, Provincial Park. It was absolutely amazing. So it brought back this memory of like last August. We have this festival where local artisans will, sell their crafts. And there was this gal that did all natural, like card diffusers and
Oh, yeah.
literally just like blocks of wood that with like engraved, um, with their company's logo in design. And then you just put essential oils like on that block of wood, and I have it like hanging up in my car on a little
Mhm.
pin there. I had chosen this Alpine Lake scent, and I remember my uncle who was at that festival as well teased me. He's like, I've never smelled a mountain lake that smells like that. It was very sweet. Um, but I've loved that scent in my car. And while I was in Banff, I smelled it so intensely. Like I've smelled that alpine, fresh, sweet smell before, but it was like that on steroids. And this last weekend, I went out to a lake. I went backpacking with my dad and we stayed overnight at a lake. And I smelled it again while I was sitting there meditating, actually. And it was like this little, I don't know, a little reminder, like, hi, yep, you're here, you're connected. It just felt so good. And I think listening to you guys talk about your inner child too, that I feel like I'm more in touch with that inner self this year and that like sense of childlike wonder. And it makes me feel so much better and so much healthier than I have in years.
Awesome.
So,
I love your experience with the scent and and getting the sweetness
mhm.
that is there in the forest. The scent Guardians is kind of like that, and it does have a sweetness to it. And when I went to and I made it from with the help of the trees, but kind of from my own nose from memory. But then when spring came, well, actually, no, it was I had my steroid injection in my hip, so Colin, my youngest, took me up to what we call the heart of the land on his property, which is a bog. And in order to get there, we had to like drive in the 4x4 through various different uh, what do they call them? Ecotones, I guess. And there were places where there were pine trees and different kinds of trees on the way up. And we're driving along and I'm smelling, oh my God. I said, this smells so much like Guardians. It's like, I really got it. It's like, and I said to Colin, and of course I wanted, and I had some on me. So, but I didn't, but where we were going, it was like, it was all of a sudden really strong. So I didn't think it was what was on me, was the air that I was smelling. And I wanted to like stick my arm under Colin's nose so he could smell it because I wanted him to know that, hey, I got it. So, but when we stopped, I did that. And he was like, yeah, he said that smells just like, I mean, it smelled just like the air that we were breathing. And it was so amazing. And it was so sweet. It was like, you don't think of it that way because there is this acid other aspect to it too. But certain trees and certain spaces, and when the air is a certain temperature, I don't know, all these things come together and they create that sweetness. And it's always a gift to smell that. So it's wonderful that that you recognize that. And because so many people, we breathe in through our nose every time we take a breath, we breathe something in. And most of the time, there's actually a fragrance there, and we don't notice it. I mean, we notice it if it's really bad, or we notice it if it's really good, but stuff in between, we kind of don't even think about. And yet, there's so much information there, and so much, that's ethereal and energetic and yeah, you'll remember that. You'll just keep on doing these things. So your inner child is going to be very healthy when you're my age.
I'm actually wearing a perfume that she concocted for my birthday. Like they went to this little, shop where you could make your own, and she gave me one. And I just feel the love and joy that she
Mhm.
intended in that for me. And it's got like a sweet jasmine,
Oh,
and
cool.
almost a minty kind of flavor,
Eucalyptus.
eucalyptus. And so, it's like
Mhm.
the intention of blending and paying attention
That's
and things too.
Yeah.
So it
Great that there's a
really
store
makes me
to
happy.
do that. That's amazing.
There's a
Yeah.
cute little shop in the mall, and I think like once a month they host some sort of different craft. So that particular day I was talking to the gal working there and she was like, "Oh, for like 15 bucks you can come back here and build your own like little diffuser type of or roll-on perfume. You could do either one." And I was like, "This
Mhm.
is perfect." Oh my gosh, I loved it. I got to
Yeah.
put like little crystals in it too.
Oh, cool.
It's all
Yes.
crystals and it's in a little roller bottle and
Yeah.
yeah, just really
Entire
fabulous.
workshop.
So just a fabulous way for people to make gifts for other people or intentionally
Awesome.
craft them. Yeah.
Loved it.
One of the things that, well, it was Edie, who is part of this circle but has never shown up. Um, she listens though. What she said after the Magic of Scent, because she came to the Magic of Scent thing in Freiburg, and she said even before we started making their oils, she felt like in the beginning she's like, "Oh, this isn't something I can do. There's no way. I know that Susan is going to help do this, but I'm not going to be able. I'm not going to like what I make, basically."
Mm.
And but by the time it came and the little bottles were put into the center of the table, by that time she felt, you know what? I think I can do this. And because she thought I was going to like, I don't know what people thought. I think some of them thought I was going to like basically
Have a
be an
call,
instruction thing on how to do it,
a
like
big old cauldron.
oils and all the and it was just going to be more heady. And I didn't talk about that at all. I mean, we talked about frequency and all kinds of cool stuff. And then it's like, okay, let's make an oil. And I started with like, just I put the base in there, like the white pine, like you mentioned, Linda Marie, and everybody wanted. I didn't bring the spruce. I just brought the white pine or the fractionated coconut oil because the white came from Freiburg, and I thought if anybody wants something, that's what they're going to want anyway. So I brought that and my little essential oil bottles and a couple of accords, like an amber accord and stuff like that. And I said, well, just start with one or two drops. And, I'm telling, and I just know, and everybody's like, drop, 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 drop. I like, screw it. Just let them do whatever they want, you know? And they came up with some amazing stuff. And Edie, she was funny. She's like, she handed this to me and I smelled her little thing, her little beaker. And I smelled it and I said, oh, you put chamomile in there, didn't you? And she's like, yeah. And I said, it's really strong, isn't it? Chamomile is deceptively strong, and it really is. It's kind of a shock if you're like when you're first starting out. And I said, well, let's see what we can do to like moderate that chamomile a little bit. And we figured it out. And she came. It was beautiful. I mean, and she was so happy with it, and she's still happy with it. And everybody was smiling, and they were like, and I just felt like I had thrown myself a perfume party.
That's nice. Yeah, it's
And
lovely.
people felt like before they got there, they're like, I can't do this, But afterwards, they're like, yeah, I can do this.
We
And
have a little chamomile here that's kind of spindly.
oh
There's
yeah,
Like triple
oh I
dip.
see. Yep. Well, she's coming.
we just planted her, but she's starting to bloom. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of chamomile do you know? Is it like German chamomile or?
I don't know.
Well, German has the bigger daisy-like flowers, and then there's the other one. It's English chamomile.
The Roman.
Roman candela. That's it. That's
Yeah,
probably what it is. Yeah,
it's
that's easier to grow, I think, too.
yeah,
That's good.
in our hardy zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yay. Well, thank you so much. I think we need to get going.
Actually, we do. It's after 4, so yeah, this was great, and I'll see if I can find the recording on my cloud.
Just
So
Google how to find my own recording on my own cloud, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, I'll look in downloads. It should be right there. So
yeah. Good to see you, Linda Marie. Hope you heal quick.
bye.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Jen. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you,
And
Cassie. Thanks for your story.
and yours, Cassie, is it? Thank
Yeah.
you. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed hearing you. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Lots of love.
Bye. Love you all.